generation, just as a point, because now I think it's becoming more obvious. So if your phone goes off a few minutes after Isha, it goes off here. It's because Isha, similarly to Fajr. So when it comes to figuring out the timing for prayers, there are prayers that have very objective measurements for it. So like Dhuhr and Asr, it's an issue of the shade of something, the shadow of something, the length of it. So it's very objective. It's not very difficult to actually do that calculation. Maghrib, it's the moment at the horizon the sun dips under, right? Very simple. Isha and Fajr are a little bit different. Isha and Fajr are based on a beam of light in the horizon. It's based on a beam of light, right? The color of it. So aside from the fact that that on its own is a little bit subjective, because assessing a beam of light in the horizon is a little bit is not fully objective, but also how you look at that, where you looked at that light from. I mean, what angle are you looking at the horizon from? As you know, unless you're a flat earther, the Earth is a globe. So when you look at the horizon, there are different angles to look at the horizon from. And based on which angle you choose, you may see the light earlier versus a little bit later. So we use the 13.5 angle, which is the angle, which is an acceptable angle that is used by large Islamic institutes across this country and other countries as well. But other institutions may use a different angle, so they may have a few minutes later. So when it comes to Fajr and Isha, there is that permissibility of there being a little bit of difference of when the starting time does. When it comes to summer, I use the angle. I stretch the angle that allows Isha to be as early as possible. I use the earliest possible angle that's there. Like I use, what is the one what's the earliest we can do it that's not going outside of what is accepted by jurists within this region. And because this is not my my forte, it's not something I spend too much time thinking about. Whatever the scholars of this country are happy with, I'm happy with. What's the earliest? I took that angle, and that's what we're doing it based on. So if your phone is going off a few minutes later, no big deal. The only thing I will ask of you is that just silence it if you're praying with us, so that it doesn't go off in the middle of salah. Aside from that, it shouldn't be a problem, inshallah ta'ala. And the goal is that we try to finish a little bit early. Even now, it means 10:30. People want to go to sleep and they have school, work in the morning like all of us, so we try not to, try to make the adhan, then pray sunnah, then do iqamah. Again, in other countries, or if you're living in the Middle East, where Isha is reasonably earlier, like an hour or so, you can do maybe 10-15 minutes between adhan and iqamah. I think that's reasonable. But for the purposes of kind of life here, I think this is a better approach. Wallahu ta'ala alam. That's my opinion on it. Okay. Within the theme of understanding Eman, this is what I've been covering for the last number of weeks. يروي الإمام البخاري والإمام مسلم كل في صحيحه عن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. Hadith in collection of both Imam Bukhari and Muslim, narrated to us by Abu Hurairah, where he says عليه الصلاة والسلام, this is a hadith you memorized in grade 1 or 2, or if you went to JK or SK in a Muslim country, or if your parents read you a basic Islamic book, you know this hadith like the back of your hand. But again, what I want you to do is to look at it through the lens of Eman. Don't look at it from the lens of behaviors. Look at it from the lens of understanding what Eman means, and see if it kind of challenges your comprehension or your understanding of the term. Because I think we have to kind of re-understand it again. Just kind of maybe take another look at it. So this is what he says, عليه الصلاة والسلام. من كان يؤمن بالله واليوم الآخر فلا يؤذي جاره ومن كان يؤمن بالله واليوم الآخر فليكرم ضيفه ومن كان يؤمن بالله واليوم الآخر فليقل خيرا أو ليصمت. This is what he's saying. Those who believe in Allah and the hereafter, if they truly believe, that's what من كان يؤمن بالله means. In Arabic, it's a conditional sentence. It doesn't start with إذا, which is if. It starts with those who. But it's a conditional sentence, so the way it translates into English is those who believe in Allah and the hereafter. If they truly do, then may they do 1, 2, 3. That's how this translates into English. So this way he says 3 times, alayhi salatu. Those who believe in Allah and the hereafter, if they truly do, then may they not harm their neighbors. May they be generous and hospitable towards their guests. And may they say something that is good, helpful, or beneficial, or be quiet. Hold their tongue. These are the things he said. We know them. But do you ever think about the fact that they are conditionally connected to Eman, not to anything else? They're conditionally connected and associated with Eman. He's saying, are you mu'min? And if you say yes, then this is what you're going to be doing. And if you don't do this, then there's a question mark around that piece. Understand that? That's what a condition is. That's what a conditional sentence means. There's no other way to understand this. I'm sorry. There's just no way for us to play around this concept. If these things aren't occurring, then there's a question mark regarding the first piece of the sentence. If someone is harmful towards their neighbor, or someone does not show hospitality, or someone commonly will say hurtful things to others, or say things that are not beneficial, that are harmful, that leave people with scars or trauma, or say things that they shouldn't say and it causes others pain and agony and suffering, then there's a question mark around that first piece. من كان يؤمن بالله واليوم الآخر. Because if you truly believed in Allah and the hereafter, then this would be the result. Again, that belief or Eman you can't afford to understand Eman as an abstract belief in something. Because the word belief is so light in English, isn't it? I believe. I feel like they're floating. I believe in Islam. Eman is not that. It isn't. Eman is you internalized a principle and you mirrored it through your behavior. That's profound. Yes, that's deep. That's very principled and internalized. This idea of it's just a thought. I think of something. No. That's what he says. It's not. I don't make this up. This is what he said. عليه الصلاة والسلام. من كان يؤمن. If you truly believe, you never harm a neighbor. If you truly believe, then you'll always be hospitable to a guest. Your guest in your house, the guest in the house of Allah, the guest wherever the guest is. Someone who enters your territory is a guest. If this is your space and they enter it, they're your guest. Wherever that space may be, at work, wherever. You're comfortable here, they're not, they're your guest. You come here all the time, they don't, they're your guest. That's what a guest is. The word idafa, ضيف, idafa, all the same root. Idafa, you add something. Something's being added. ضيف is an additional person. Someone who wasn't there before. Someone who doesn't belong there. As a guest, then treat them well. If you truly believe in Allah the hereafter, then you'll never say. You'll say khair only. This tongue will only say khair, only say something to be helpful. If it can't think of something good, then it'll hold its tongue. And may I share this with my sisters for a moment? Just hear me out here for a second. When your husband stops speaking, it's probably why. I think this is a very, very important distinction between how the psychology of men and women function. I don't know, I'm only a guy. I don't know how women, but I'm telling you how when men hold their tongue and don't say anything anymore, it's not because they're not wanting to engage. It's not because they're not listening to you. It's not because they just stopped caring about you. It's because at that moment, all they can think of is something hurtful. Now you can analyze that and get upset, or you can say at least he's holding his tongue because he doesn't want to say something hurtful. He's waiting until he's able to process through all the garbage, remove shaitan, come up with something nice, and then say it again. I think that's an important piece. And to add to my brothers here who are here, it's important that you make that process as quick as humanly possible. All right? So kind of go through the garbage as quickly as possible, remove it, get through it, recycle it, throw it away so you have something nice to say. It shouldn't take a week or a month to do that. But I think it's important to keep that in mind because words hurt. Words will never, ever go away. Words are never forgotten. You cannot erase them. You cannot delete them. Once you say them, they're there. And try and say something hurtful to your wife in your life and see what happens. If you're not married, learn this from me. Learn this from me. Don't ever open your mouth to something. She will never forget about it. And she has every right to. Because words hurt. Yeah? جراحات السنان لها التئام. The wounds of a sword will heal. ولا يلتام ما جرح اللسان. And it will never heal the wounds of words. يروي الإمام البخاري ومسلم كل في صحيحه عن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه قال النبي صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم من كان يؤمن بالله واليوم الآخر فلا يؤذي جاره ومن كان يؤمن بالله واليوم الآخر فليكرم ضيفه ومن كان يؤمن بالله واليوم الآخر فليقل خيرا أو ليصمت صدق رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وصحبه وسلم. الحمد لله لا إله إلا أنت استغفرك وأتوب إليك صلى الله عليه وسلم.